What's up, Portland? John Taylor, founder of PortlandRealEstateExperts.com.
And I'm Kristina Bullock, co-founder of PortlandRealEstateExperts.com.
And we are your host for the show that brings you interesting people talking about what makes them unique,
What makes Portland unique?
and why Portland is such a great place to live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the All Things Portland podcast. I'm your host, John Taylor, along with my lovely co-host, Kristina Bullock. How are you doing today, Kristina?
I'm doing great today, guys. Happy to be here. So, how are you guys doing?
Doing great. Super excited. We have our good friend Todd Johnson with us today, successful mortgage broker since 1991.
Thank you.
Yep.
Great father, a friend of ours, avid outdoorsman, and a smart motherfucker. 2 engineering degrees from another school in Oregon that can't remember the name of.
Good school, the Beavers, Oregon State.
And
Choose not to.
We're super excited to have you on. So, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here. To preface that or go back, Oregon didn't offer those kind of programs. So for all of you ducks out there, they don't have that engineering program down there.
The super smart.
Yeah, they only get that at Oregon State at the Orange and Black.
Todd's a beaver, I'm a duck, so it's just, we make it work.
Listen, in my family, when I grew up, my dad told all of us kids, he said, look, I'll help you pay your first year in college anywhere you want to go, as long as it's Oregon State.
As long as it's Oregon State.
And he actually lied to us. He didn't help us pay anything, but he got us all to Oregon State, and that's how it all started. So
Perfect. So 2 engineering degrees, not 1, 2. And so how do you go from an engineer to mortgage broker? How did that happen?
Look, in the 90s, early 90s, I was married, and I was married to a gal, Debbie, and Debbie was in the mortgage industry, and she was doing extremely well, and she was working for a small mortgage brokerage company. But she was bringing in a substantial amount of money, and at the time, it just seemed like it made more sense for her to go talk to the ownership at the time and see if they would change her compensation structure. And they didn't want to. So I helped her form a company, and so we did. We went out in it. I didn't know much about the mortgage industry. I was continuing to work as an engineer. And during this time, I actually set up some meetings with some other people that were in real estate and development and building. And during that meeting, one of the guys, he had said, well, Todd, you've got an engineering background. We do a lot of things, and we're doing a lot of construction, and we sell homes, and we're building homes. And you're already in sales on the engineering side. At the time, I was doing design and technical sales. He said, maybe you should get into the mortgage industry. Well, as I told him, I said, I can't even spell mortgage. So I don't know anything about doing mortgages. And later that day, some clients actually called, and we were in the office, and it was also during a transition that I got promoted to Chicago, and I really didn't want to go to Chicago. So the writing was kind of on the wall that here was kind of an opportunity for me, and maybe because we had started this mortgage company and we were able to move things forward, I jumped in. And so that was, 29 plus, almost 30 years ago, and I still work with that same group of people in the industry, and here we are.
Yeah. I remember, was that Sunset Mortgage?
It was.
I remember. That's about when I came. I don't know how many years it had been in play, but I remember those brokers opens for the new subdivisions with Sunset Mortgage. Those were a good time.
Yeah, we always had a lot of fun, and we've worked together forever, but yeah, those were a lot of fun with a lot of new construction and
we had a simple philosophy. We wanted to have fun first, make money second. We targeted the 10% of the people that were doing 90% of the business. And we really didn't look to grow or to expand the business. It was just that we created a culture. Our dog at the time was a yellow lab named Chelsea. She came to work with us every day. And people just enjoyed being around the environment that it just happened. And it was fun. So it wasn't if we built it, they will come. It was people just started to gravitate towards the organization and the organization grew. So it was great.
Well, you had a limo too, so that always helped. So.
Well, and the story behind the limo, was really, again, it goes back to my dad always saying, hey, listen, son, have fun first, make money second, and make sure you're having fun every day because life's short. But during an FHA audit, our auditor had said, well, you guys like to entertain. You're going to events at the Rose Garden and different places all the time. you might want to consider getting a limo because you could make it a mobile office. It would be a depreciable asset, and it would be a great way for you to entertain clients and take the realtors out and do open houses. And so
that's how that happened.
that's how it all happened. So we got our first limo and learned from that. And by the time we got to the third one that we built, we kind of had it figured out and dialed in, and it was a great tool. It really it was not only fun, but it helped to continue to help grow the business.
Kept us safe too.
Yeah.
Because
That's
we
right.
definitely had fun at the
Yeah, I
events
think the
thrown
first
by.
time I met you and came into your office, there was a bottle of vodka involved, I'm pretty sure. And I was like, okay, I think I want to work with these guys, right?
Yeah, well, again, the idea, like I said today, I said I was surprised we didn't have a local beer or something here for us today since we're in
We're so boring.
in the Portland metro area. Where's our
What's
beverages?
Hey, in some
What
of our
happened
next
to us?
episodes, we will have some beverages.
That's good.
I think our first event with you, I remember, was the Casino Royale. Do you remember that at all?
Was that the one in
Red-
Salem?
Red Tail.
Red. Okay, yeah.
We had the
Yeah.
casino tables.
Oh,
and,
yeah, you were there. 'Cause,
Yeah, TV
that's right.
given away, like a big flat screen was a grand prize.
Yeah,
I
that was
mean,
a fun
yeah.
grand opening.
that was a grand opening that was one of my first experiences
Yeah.
with Todd.
Well,
Not a bad one.
look,
Still.
if we can have fun every day, it makes it a lot better to work and incorporate a little play.
Absolutely. So, and you're an avid outdoorsman, so
You know,
tell us about that.
yeah, I grew up in Coos Bay, where we grew up in the sand dunes and the coastal streams and fishing and hunting and crabbing, and inevitably found my way up into Gladstone, where I moved there in 1975 and lived right off the Clackamas River. So I just have always been involved in fishing and hunting and anything that has to do with those types of activities. I participate in and I enjoy it. So, but mountain biking and skiing and wakeboarding and all the rest too. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, growing up in the Northwest, it's hard not to be involved in some of those types of activities.
I have a question for you. Why is it that you can get deals done that other people cannot? There's a lot of lenders that have been doing it for a long time, and is it just that engineering brain that gets it done, or?
20% of my business comes from other lenders turning deals down, approximately. Maybe sometimes even more in other months. And generally, it's just looking for what the limiting factors are and eliminating them. It might just be repositioning of assets and debts. It may be just a credit rescore change. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, believe it or not, it's a box check. I mean, it literally could have been the lender was trying to purchase the home and finance it as a primary, and it would have made it much easier if they just would have made it a second home. So sometimes it's real simple. Other times it's more complex, and you have to do some things that you might even get involved with the CPA and redoing taxes and looking at how we're going to add back in depreciation, and it becomes a little more complex.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the engineering background doesn't hurt me. It helps me to solve problems and to think through things in a way that maybe other people in our industry don't consider and don't think about. So
Nice.
Yeah, you always think outside the box when you need to, and I appreciate that, and we've been able to get a lot of deals done because when other people couldn't. So
listen, I had a great teacher. So like I said, we started the company. I was with my wife Debbie. She, we're on great terms. We got divorced years ago, but it helped that I had a really great teacher, and we looked for solutions. Mm-hmm. Versus, giving up. There's usually a way to figure a situation out that will at the end enable them to purchase the home.
yeah.
So if someone has, some struggles, they want to buy a house, but there's some roadblocks in the way. How do you start them off on the right process? Is there
Normally what I do is I gather the information, whether we do it over the phone like right now because of all this COVID, mm-hmm. and we're not necessarily meeting people face to face. I do a lot of Zoom calls. But once we have a file and we can see what their credit is, mm-hmm. their credit score, their liability, their assets, and their income, then it's a matter of just beginning to formulate a game plan that will work in order to get the approval that we need for what they're trying to purchase. Or it may be they're trying to purchase too much.
Mm-hmm.
And in many cases, we're able to increase their purchase price because we're repositioning, a liability or a debt. For example, somebody will have a zero interest rate on a car loan and they'll have $30,000 on it. Well, it's costing them $1,000 a month. Well, if they were to use the same $30,000 and put that down on the house, with interest rates being so low, it might only save them $120,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if they got rid of the debt, it saves them $1,000. So it improves their overall debt ratio because the idea is leverage into the real estate asset where you're going to have more bang for your buck and there are some offsetting tax benefits and eliminate the non-tax deductible debt.
That's good to know, because I feel like there's a lot of people out there that don't even give it a shot because they feel like they just won't qualify before they even call anybody to see if they would.
Sometimes people think my credit's no good,
Mm-hmm.
right? I know my credit's challenged. And they believe what they're doing to fix the credit is helping them. The majority of the time, what they're doing is making their credit worse. Paying off old collections doesn't help your credit because all it does is it brings an old debt current and it reports zero, but it reports a bad debt current. So what we like to do is if somebody has some questions and they're a little reluctant because of maybe their credit, is again, create a quick file, run the credit report, and then we run what are called credit analytics. And it really is just a program with specific algorithms that runs what-if scenarios, and it does it very quickly to determine if they do this, this, and this, their credit score will go from, a 580 to a 680. Mm-hmm. And I'm not kidding you, there are times where we've taken people with 580 or lower credit scores, and by really just eliminating maybe being a signer on an account, or maybe just moving a liability to another credit card, that we've increased their credit score into the high 6s and even 7s. So it's really imperative. I would tell people, if you're worried about it, let's create a game plan, let's get a file, let's pull your credit, and then let's just run the scenario and we'll determine what needs to happen in order to fix it.
Yeah. I feel like I'm always pushing people just to get that conversation started. So even if it's a year down the road that you decide to buy, knowing what that game plan is can make all the difference in a better rate. And
I always try, that's exactly what I say too. It's just like, at least have the conversation with the lender. It can't hurt you.
Well, people think too, they want to save. I'm trying to save for the down payment. People think, you'll hear people say, well, I don't want mortgage insurance. Well, mortgage insurance is not necessarily a bad thing. And it may not even be that expensive. And it's a temporary thing depending on the type of program.
Right.
So,
Right.
but if right now in our current market, with interest rates being in the low 3s, and in a lot of cases with specific programs are in the low 2s, every $1,000 that somebody puts down on a house is only saving them around $4 plus or minus a month.
right.
So they're not really getting the bang for their buck. It just doesn't make sense. You could take the $1,000 and borrow it and put it under your pillow that you didn't put for the down payment and draw the $4 for 20 years, right? So part of that's what we do in our team is we help people understand the associated benefit and how to leverage into your real estate, minimize your out-of-pocket costs, but at the same time, take advantage of these low rates and qualify for the maximum amount that you possibly can.
I think it's one of the things I've always respected whenever I send anybody your way. And I know that that's what they're getting when they call you,
Well,
We always know they're in good hands,
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, listen, I got a great team, and they are in good hands. And sometimes I probably talk a little too quick. I get told, "Hey, slow down. You talk too fast. You're going through it too quick." So I try to incorporate the team when we're doing.
Try to
these
give
things.
warning to anybody I
Yeah,
tell.
that's good. I might drop an F-bomb.
Yeah.
We always warn them of that.
I'm not going to bullshit them, right? I'm going to tell them the truth. I'm going to let them know what we need to do and how to do it. Generally, people come in and again, they have a preconceived idea that they've learned. You know, maybe it was from their parents or grandparents, and this is what you should do. So usually, I take that preconceived idea, put it down on what it would look like, and then I'll play the devil's advocate and I'll say, what if we do it this way? Here's what your new payment would be. Here's the benefit. Here's what you're going to qualify for. And generally, they understand.
So I've got a question. So you've been in it since 1991, and so you've seen a lot of ups and downs. I started in 92, so we've seen them together. And so challenges are just differences between, you know, especially like 2000 to 2006 and 7, then a crash, and then, you know, a lot more regulation. And so how did you navigate through those challenges? And
well, the industry in the early 90s was all were qualified mortgages. They didn't have what were called credit matrices. We didn't have the automated underwriting systems. So everything was on a debt ratio. You know, you couldn't be higher than 28% front end ratio, meaning the debt ratio for your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance for the home. And you couldn't then be higher than maybe 36% if you had all your debt with minimum monthly payments. So in many cases, or in evaluating how we are currently, it's a lot similar to the way it was in the early 90s because everything now is on a qualified mortgage. There was a time there for sure in the 2000s, early 2000s, where the subprime market exploded, and if you could fog a glass, you could get a loan, and because everything was a stated income. And then credit matrices came out that if you had a low credit score, you still were going to have a product, whether it was going to be a delayed arm, meaning it was fixed for a couple of years and then it would go to an adjustable. But you could, in most cases, create 100% financing with really limited documentation and no money out of pocket. So that was a unique time in our world of mortgage banking. And it did enable a lot of people to buy homes when they normally wouldn't be able to, but it also, when those types of products stopped getting securitized, it created a gigantic mess, as we all know, and there was no place for them to refinance these mortgages. The property values were decreasing because appraised values were coming in lower, and it for those of us that went through it, it was a difficult time.
Absolutely.
yes, it was. So on that note, we need to take a break. And so.
Yeah, so thank you, Todd. I mean, what's the best way for someone to reach you if they have questions about?
You know, an easy way to reach me is to go to toddjohnsonteam.com, and but they can always call me direct, 503-706-6628. But other than that, happy to have a conversation with them and me and my team, and we'll get you squared away.
Well, yeah, there you have it. Todd's definitely a wealth of information in the mortgage industry. And we're going to take a quick break here and hear from our sponsor, and we'll be back to talk about Portland with Todd.
You want the absolute best for yourself, and you want it to be easy. That's why we created Green 85. It helps with detoxifying the body gently. We're proud it's chemical-free, unlike almost all other supplements you'll find. Bottom line, Green 85 will get you healthier. We look forward to hearing what Green 85 did for you.
To get this product and our other amazing products, go to chemicalfreebody.com. That's chemicalfreebody.com.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm John Taylor, your host, along with our co-host, Kristina Bullock. And
Hello again.
Back with our guest, Todd Johnson. And we're going to talk about the infamous Portland package right now. And if you don't know, the Portland package is basically top 3 things that you would take your guests to from out of town, just to show off what Portland's all about. And so, with that being said, Todd, what would be your Portland package if you had some out of town guests?
I'll tell you what. There's three things. If we're only getting three, there'd be more than three. But there's in Portland itself and Portland proper, in downtown, I would tell you there's two places that are a must. One is Huber's. You got to go there. It's the oldest bar in Portland. They are famous for their Spanish coffee. James Louis and his family have owned this bar for hundreds of years, and it is they have the most amazing turkey dinners. But the presentation of the making of the Spanish coffee, it will blow your mind, and so it's a must. For sure.
I forgot about the Spanish coffee. I haven't
Spanish
been there
coffee.
for a while.
Now listen,
Never have more than 3.
and I'm going to make this
I would say
easy.
2.
I'll make this easy for you because the next place is right kitty corner to Huber's, and it's called Alamere.
Ooh,
So Joseph, Mo, and Lydia own the Alamere. They've been friends of mine for years. They are entertainers. And I'm telling you, if you go, do not order food. Just sit down. Tell them, Todd Johnson, tell them Kristina and John and Todd all sent you because they've been there. And just let them bring the food to you. Let them bring out their Lebanese margaritas.
Yep.
The belly dancers are there. It is the Alamere with Mo, Joseph, and Lydia. They are a phenomenal group of people and owners, and they will take care of you.
They treat you like
And
family.
be ready to potentially dance on the bar depending on how late you stay.
They will know your name, and that's the amazing thing about it is I've witnessed it for years, but Mo, Joseph, and Lydia they will remember people's names from they met 15, 20 years ago, and again, they welcome you. They are just a great group of people and very family oriented. I mean, you have to be in the evenings and stuff. It's 21 and
Right.
over, but it's a great place to go, and you will not be disappointed. So
Absolutely. That's a great.
now the other thing that I would tell people in the audience here listening today or watching, you got to go to the Gorge, right? I mean, there's so much around Portland, but with the Columbia Gorge being so beautiful and picturesque with Multnomah Falls, or whether you end up just driving up all the way into where the apple orchards or the cherry orchards in Hood River and some of those areas, maybe even make the loop that comes up Highway 30 or 35, I guess, that comes up and cuts into 26 up by Mount Hood. I would tell you, make it a plan to get up and see the gorge, especially in the summertime. The wintertime, the weather can be pretty bad, but in the summertime, it's great.
I have not done the orchards. What do you...
Well, when you drive up there's a number of areas you can stop, and there's a lot of microbreweries as well. But it's just an absolute. It's almost like you're in a different world when you drive up from 84 and you cut up 35 that goes up and over and intersects with 26. And at the same time, if they do
That
that,
goes from Hood River to Mount Hood.
that's right. It goes to government camp. So, and then once if they do that loop, then you might as well take your 9-mile detour and go up and see Timberline Lodge, right? So, that is a place where today there's people, still skiing on the mountain. It's a place where the Olympic people train, and Timberline Lodge is another just spectacular. It's just the ambiance and the history of the building. It's really cool.
Well, they have skiing all year round too.
Yeah.
Summer skiing. That's why the Olympic team trains there in the summer. So.
And it's great to go there in the winter or the summer, right? But
Yeah.
but the winter time, the road, you're going to have to be cognizant of the roads. I wouldn't advise this loop in the winter. Do it in the summertime, and you'll get the full appeal.
We have a funny story for the winter, but that'll be for...
Got stuck up there and almost died, but yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Okay, so I gave you 3 or 4. What about you guys?
So when Kristina moved here, we gave her the Multnomah Falls package. So
Yeah,
that was,
that's always seems to be a
City
go-to.
Grill.
City
You
Grill.
can show off the view, Multnomah Falls, Gorge, unbelievable. And, the summer, of course. And then Lincoln City for the coast, because my family has a home down there. And we have, but there's, our other buddy, Mike, who, he had the Cannon Beach package, and he had a bunch of different packages for when he was bringing people in to show off Portland. He lives in Tahoe, so, but when he bring them in, he had the package.
For
Usually it was the Canna Beach package, but so. What about you? What would be one of your?
As far as a restaurant, I think I've spoken about it before, but I love Bamboo Sushi for sushi, and then El Gaucho's if we're doing the steak night.
Unbelievable. Banana Foster's.
Yes, I just tried to make
Yes.
some last night at my house.
Yeah.
Turns out I need to leave it to the professionals.
Yeah.
So, and let's see what else. I mean, Ringside was amazing. I was pretty bummed. I'm over on the east side of town. I was pretty bummed when they closed down their place at the Glendavere Golf Course. That was my
Yeah.
go-to. Caesar salad, steak bites, and a glass of white wine. That was like my dinner,
That was
happy
the
hour.
go-to dinner. happy
So
hour.
to drive down here is not as effective for me anymore, but still a good time over there. I like Ringside as well for
Yeah.
those steak bites.
Any favorite happy hour places?
You know, it's our environment's been so weird lately with COVID and things being shut down. You know, I'm just trying to think that
Prior to COVID,
Yeah.
where you would go?
oh, I don't know. God, there's just too many. As far as the outdoor area in the summertime, I would say, what's the little place in Tualatin has one? Hayden's Grill would probably be a great
Hayden's
happy hour, and it
Grill,
has a little lake out
Never
front.
been out there.
Hayden's is a good place to meet. Hayden's is owned by Charlie Sitton, fellow Oregon State Beaver, go Beavs. And Charlie he puts on a great spread for brunch on Sundays, but he has an incredible location and also the hotel that's connected to it. But I would tell you, that's a great little happy hour place.
Speaking of brunch, Salty's brunch. Have you-
Oh man, that is awesome.
Yeah, that's a good
I
one.
haven't done that for a while, and
Yeah.
I'll check out Hayden's.
Yeah, Hayden's Grill right there in
Grill.
Tualatin.
I heard Blue Hour closed.
Yeah,
That's pretty sad.
down here
Sad.
on 23rd.
Blue Hour on down in the Pearl District.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
That
was
was a long time staple. So
20
it's
some
kinda
years
sad
it's been
sad
down
to
there.
See that one go. That was always a fun little happy hour. Jake's is one of my favorite happy
Love Jake's.
Yeah.
You know, Jake's crawfish and get the big seafood poo-poo platter, you know, for the appetizers. That's
Right?
awesome.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And they put on a great show for St. Patrick's Day. You know, they close the street down. Typically, they bring in Bart Hafman with who's Bart? What's our band?
Oh yeah.
I can't.
Played at your birthday.
Yeah, God, why can't I think of the name? But anyway.
Hit Machine.
Hit Machine.
Hit Machine.
Gosh,
Yes,
that's
that's
right.
it.
So he's another one. He's a
got
local
steel
Portland
trap
guy.
for a brain.
Yeah, that would be.
It took me a second.
Yeah. He's another one. If he's playing somewhere and you're in Portland, go see Bart and the Hit
Bart
Machine.
is a
They're
great Portland. He's a staple.
They're
So,
awesome.
the Hit Machine. They can play anything and it just nail it.
yeah.
So you love to fish. Where do you usually go?
Yeah, I'm an avid fisherman and outdoors person and hunter, and so if I'm fishing, it depends on really the time of year. So during this time of year, we're just kind of finishing up. You know, spring Chinook just kind of happened, and it went all the way into June. There's still some salmon you're going to find in some of the rivers in the Columbia River systems, and summer steelhead's going to be happening here, and that'll be happening on the Deschutes. And then you're going to roll into fall, and in fall, the lower Columbia. We're famous for what's called Buoy 10, and it becomes a great fishery for the silver salmon run and the fall Chinook run.
Never heard of it.
So-
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's big. I mean, and it's an incredible fishery and it's great fishing. But then the coastal streams, all again, in the fall will hold a lot of salmon, and I'll fish down there, whether it's the Nehalem or the Wilson or the Trask or the Siletz. I mean, there's a number of them. So during the time of year, there's a multitude of streams that you can fish in. So
Do we still have the sea lion problem? Do they still?
sea lion problem has been recently being addressed, but it's 10 days late and $10 short.
Yeah.
And we should have addressed it a long time ago, but they are addressing it, and that's a whole another topic. But it is the sea lions have created a lot of challenges for the salmon run.
Yeah, definitely.
I went, fly fishing last summer for the first time.
Awesome.
About an hour out towards Pascalacamis. I can't remember the state park that we did it at, but that was a pretty incredible experience. And but not as easy as I thought. It looks
Fly
so
fishing,
peaceful out
Yeah,
there.
the
I
people
was
that are
in
really
a-
good at it make it look real nice and easy.
Yeah,
but,
everybody
Pretty-
watches the river runs through it, right? And
Yeah.
so they think that it looks easy, that Brad Pitt made that look easy.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. I thought I was gonna keel over the whole time. The current
What
underneath
about
the water.
Sturgeon?
Sturgeon, that's an unbelievable fishery here, whether it's in the Willamette or the Columbia, and they have the oversized sturgeon that come up.
Yeah.
So you're catching sturgeon that are, 8, 9, 10 plus feet long. And it's a great fishery. Primarily, there are some times during the year where you can keep sturgeon, but in general, the sturgeon is a catch and release
Catch
program.
release, yeah.
So I haven't asked anybody this before, but I imagine you might be. Do you like to read, Todd? Are you an avid reader?
I'm not a big reader. No.
Okay.
Not
I
a
thought
big
you might
reader.
have some books to.
Yeah,
There's the end of that topic.
coloring books.
Coloring.
That's what I did as a kid. I didn't read much. No.
You like the adult ones, right?
There you go.
I know
Yeah.
you like boating. You live on the river.
Yeah.
And so
Lot of activities on the river. Whether in the summertime you're wakeboarding or wake surfing or water skiing, tubing, or just hanging out.
what's the one you sit on, the hydrofoil?
The sky ski.
The sky ski.
sky
Yes.
ski.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that still out there?
It is.
Yeah.
We have a few of us.
Is it Calvin's? Do you still
I-
have Calvin's?
I
sky
still have
ski?
I have Calvin's old sky ski. So Calvin, if you watch this, let's come back
We know
from
where your
Hawaii.
sky ski is.
Yeah, and I've got your sky ski, and I think I bought it from him actually. So, but the sky ski or the air chair they call it, it's fun to do, but it hurts when you crash.
Yeah, I never tried
I
it.
tried it when we went to Shasta, and it just beat the crap out of me. Like I was just hurting the next day.
Yeah, I watched him do it.
And I
and
never
was
really
done.
got up and had fun, so I just got beat up.
Yeah.
And I didn't get to have fun on it, but
You need to have somebody coach you through it, but you're going to have more pain initially than you are fun.
yeah.
Speaking of another, make it look easy. Calvin made that look easy. So
Todd does too. Todd's
Yeah.
the first one I ever saw get on it. And
Calvin and I actually years ago I helped Calvin and we basically taught him how to do it, and he became very proficient and he was excellent at it. So,
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun doing it, going side by side. There's another guy in the area named Lance Fuel. He's a retired Navy jet fighter pilot, and he likes to do it too. And so we have a lot of fun doing it side by side.
there's not that many people that do that, right?
There's not many people that do the air chair, and there are some people that are absolutely amazing at it, and they're incredible to watch. Just like when you have a great wakeboarder, they're amazing to watch.
Well, now they're doing the wakeboards with the hydrofoil.
Yeah, I've done those too. I
Yeah.
did those a couple years ago, and they're like the wake surf. They have that, so you're
Yeah.
surfing with a hydrofoil. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
You like that?
I love
The wakes.
surfing.
Yeah, the
well
wakes.
surfing. It doesn't hurt as bad when you fall.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, we get old. We don't want to
You
get
can
hurt.
also
Just kind of
hand a beer out to
Yeah,
you
here
while
you
you're
go.
out there. I
Yeah.
think that's why he likes
Yeah.
it.
You can start in the boat with a beer and just float back in.
I did
Yeah.
actually. One summer I got good enough where I could dry start. And
Yeah.
just drop out, have my beer, and
Yeah.
so. But I haven't done it for a few years, so I don't know if I can still do that or not. But it is nice because you just kind of sink into the water instead of smack into it at 30 miles an hour. So it's less painful for sure.
Our bodies don't recover as quickly.
Right?
That's right.
I think I haven't been out just with that fear in mind, just knowing it's not going to feel the same when I hit the hit the water going fast. It's not fun.
No.
And you live on the upper Willamette. Do you prefer the upper Willamette or the lower
know-
Willamette, or kind of just both have their own flavor?
Yeah, I mean, look, the lower Willamette has the flair for being close to the city and all the things that happen at waterfront, down here where we have the Blues Festival and Beer Fest and different
And
activities.
don't forget the Poon Lagoon.
And the Poon Lagoon, yes, you
Come
can't,
on,
you
guys.
can't forget that. So it's a different world, and you got to maneuver around a lot of the fishermen and things that happen on the lower river. On the upper river, which is really everything over Willamette Falls, it's a different area, and it's a little calm. The water's a little nicer, but you don't have the same type of activities. It becomes more of a hangout of locals.
Got it. Well, I think we've covered all of your likes of Portland. If there's anything else, let us know. Is there anything else you feel like you didn't?
No, I think we've covered quite a few topics
I
so
think
far.
we did
Yeah,
too.
absolutely.
You did great there. So we're going to take another quick break here and listen to a sponsor. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little more about real estate with Todd.
Have you ever thought about flipping your own home?
Need to sell but cannot afford the repairs? We have the solution for you.
With our Flip Your Own Home program, we can help you maximize your full potential profit.
For a free, no obligation 15-minute consultation, call or text us today at 503-382-7798.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm John Taylor, your host, along with our co-host, Kristina Bullock, and we're back with our guest, Todd Johnson, to talk a little real estate.
Absolutely. So we're going to start off first asking Todd where he chooses to live. What neighborhood or area are you living in right
Look,
now?
I live on the Upper Willamette, which is near a neighborhood called Peach Cove.
Mm-hmm.
So I live up by the Canby Ferry on a small farm and look right up on the Upper Willamette River. So I've been there for about 18 years.
Wow. Okay, so
Yeah.
I've actually been there then.
Absolutely.
That was quite some time ago, but
Yeah.
you're still in the same spot.
Same spot. It the property is beautiful. We got
Yeah.
a little manufactured home on it, so I'm trailer trash. I'm what it looks like.
So is it
nice
1972
trailers.
single
So
wide, or what are we working
it's
with
actually,
there?
listen, it's a Golden West 1989 triple.
Yeah,
Okay.
Triple
So
wide.
it's a triple wide. Don't sell me short here, people. It's got a hot tub on the deck. It's pretty dialed
Can you
in.
still see the wheels, or?
No, I covered them up, and I've got a buddy, Brian. He said he tried to find my house using Google Maps, but he said the only way he could find it was to go to DMV. So
No, you
That's
didn't.
one way to do it, yeah.
I did.
So what's a small farm to you?
Well, it's 30 acres. It's
Yeah,
not.
that's
It's not.
feeling it wasn't that small.
no, it's not.
I've been to Todd's house, down to his dock, on his property, in the house. It's a beautiful.
It's
It's a
beautiful,
beautiful
yes.
property on the water, triple wide.
Well, I listen. I feel very fortunate to live there, and it's been great. You know, it's been a great. It's a great atmosphere in the summer. In the wintertime, it's pretty dirty and muddy. I mean, it's not like you have the same type of lifestyle as you would in the summertime, entertaining on the river and those types of things.
Right.
But yeah, it's been awesome.
Speaking of, if you could pack up or ever wanted to and go somewhere else, where do you see yourself in the Portland area moving to, if there was a neighborhood?
Well, look, there's a number of different Portland neighborhoods that I think are world class. I would say one of the probably not talked about because it's very difficult to find homes that come up for sale on it. There's one road and it's called Eilers Road, and it's in the Aurora. I think it's in the Aurora city limits, so it's on the south side of the Willamette. But the nice thing about Eilers Road is, again, you can have the lifestyle of the river. Most of the properties are larger parcels. They're all very nice homes. But it's a dead end, it's quiet, it's very close and convenient to the highway. It's close to, the golf course. It's just, I would say that would probably be, if you had asked me to pick a road or an area or a location, I would probably say that would be one where I would think I'd want to live.
That's a good one. I showed a few houses there in the past, and it's a pretty cool location and beautiful homes right on the water. So.
And I got friends, that live there, so in my perfect world, I think that living there would be a pretty fun location.
I'm gonna have to look it up. I'm not familiar with it, so which is what I like about this. I'm gonna learn more.
Maybe we'll find two houses I can move into one.
Well, look, I mean,
Into one.
in the Portland area, as you know, there's lots of places. Lake Oswego. I mean, everybody wants to live on the lake, and the lake's got a lot of rules. So if you're okay with a lot of rules, beautiful homes, great area, unbelievable school systems, and expensive.
Right.
So Lake Oswego's another area. Dunthorpe's another area with extremely high-end homes. The West Hills of Portland, as we look out here out of the window, you can see the West Hills. So there's a lot of really awesome neighborhoods. The East Side brings its own specific culture and activities and little communities that are really, really cool. Woodstock,
Yeah.
right? That's an area. You got Otto's in Woodstock. That's a great place for meats and
Oh, yeah.
cheeses and sandwiches, but they process meat as well.
Yeah.
So-
we have them at one of our brokers opens.
Yeah,
A couple times,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
They go really well, too. They're easy
Yeah.
yeah,
and delicious. So,
So yeah, there's just a lot of different neighborhoods in Portland that are really cool and offer a gamut of different types of lifestyles.
agreed.
So you've been in the real estate business for a long time. So how do you see the market currently in Portland, and
Well,
where
you
it's
know-
at now, where it's going? Obviously, we're coming out of things are picking up. COVID it kind of locked things down, at least for showings and stuff for a while. But that's
COVID
changing.
has definitely put a hamper on things, but at the same time, it appears that the market is doing well. The market is well. Homes are selling. It seems like there's multiple offers in most cases when a home comes on the market. Inventories have been a little low, and I don't know. That's probably a lot to do with people just maybe not wanting to sell and waiting out this COVID thing to see what happens. But I see the market extremely robust, if you will. And the idea that interest rates are so low, I'm finding a lot of people right now, what they're doing is they're coming to me and we're repositioning their equity positions. So we're doing refinancing of their home and taking the cash. So we're moving this cash tax-free and we're putting it into other types of properties. Whether it's a second home, maybe they're looking in the Sun River or Central Oregon, or as you said, on the beach, and buying a beach house that they could either use themselves or maybe Airbnb it when they're not using it. Or people are taking the equity out of their home at a low interest rate and then they're buying a true investment property. So whether it is a single family, but whether maybe it's a plex, a duplex or a triplex or a fourplex, that is going to create, tax-free cash flow, with offsetting depreciation. So sometimes, I meet with clients and they feel like they don't want to touch the equity in their house, but what I let them know is they're really not losing equity. It's just a repositioning of the asset into another appreciating asset. So we're doing a lot more of that, and really that's perpetuated by rates being so low and the market continuing to be good. So on a financial side of it, on the mortgage banking side, I think it's been very busy, whether it's refinances and or purchases. And again, but it's been a very unique time with rates being as low as they are for the consumer to take advantage of these low rates, and whether they just refinance to lower the payment on their home or whether they do it to take the money and reposition into something else.
Right. I'm glad you touched on that. 'Cause
How
that's
long do you think the rates are going to stay low?
Well, I think the rates are going to remain low, especially when there's angst in the market, right? There's unknowns. So anytime that there's an unknown and we're faced with COVID and the stock market really isn't booming, that's typically an indicator. If the stock market's really doing well, mortgage rates generally are going to be higher, right? Because people are moving money into higher yielding, higher risk investments like a stock, and they're moving money out of 30-year mortgage-backed type securities. So, but the opposite happens when there's angst, whether it's the threat of war or the threat of shutdown and markets in general. That will push the consumer to move money into 30-year mortgage-backed securities, which will increase yield and decrease rates. So you say, how long is this going to last? At least until the election, right?
Yeah.
So depending on what happens with our election, I think that will definitely dictate whether the market stays the same or whether there's changes. So currently the market's good and interest rates are low, but I would anticipate post-election we may see rates rise. But all to be determined. I'm not a fortune teller. I just know right now it's a great time to take advantage of it.
Now's a great time to take advantage of that. And some people I've talked to just are waiting because they think maybe prices are going to go down because of the COVID and this. And I have my own opinion on that. What are your thoughts of prices? What are prices
Look,
going to do in Portland?
We haven't seen a reflection of values dropping, which you normally would when people are buying homes on appraisals. We're generally seeing appraised values, you know, at value or in many cases higher than the purchase price. I think the market's going to continue to do well, but again, that can change with this COVID and with people losing jobs. I mean, unemployment has been it's at the highest it's ever been, right? And there's only so much we can do for government subsidy to continue to give people these benefits, and so that's going to affect our market most likely, and it could potentially affect it negatively. And again, to be determined how these are all going to be handled as we move forward in the future. But right now, our market is doing well, and it appears based on what we're seeing with appraisals, values are going up.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing out there too. So, and I think it will continue just because of our restricted supply in the Portland market, and historically home prices always go up. So
Absolutely,
you
and
take advantage of the low interest rates now, even if you have a leveling off or even a little dip. Long term, it's always going to go up, right?
And there's no question, home ownership is far better than renting, right? So yeah, I mean, I think that if you can, I tell everybody, if you can afford a home, then buy, don't rent. It's just, especially with rates being so low, in most cases, you're going to be able to have a payment at the same or lower than you would with a rent. And the rent payment, again, non-tax deductible. But in certain cases, the tax deductibility with the mortgage has changed a little bit with some of the new rules, and some of the standard deductions may exceed. But that taken into account, owning a home still, taking advantage of the appreciation and the tax-free growth of the value of the home is far better than paying rent for somebody else's house or an apartment.
Yeah. So you and I recently helped a young, ambitious first-time home buyer, and we helped him get into a duplex. So what do you think about that as a first-time home buyer's first investment?
Listen, if everybody that was a first-time home buyer could buy a duplex or a triplex or a fourplex, it would be awesome. But as you know, those types of properties are few and far between, and it's very difficult because the demand for them from other types of investors are high. So the guy that we got into the home, we used an FHA loan. It was 3.5% down. Rates are extremely low. Right now, an FHA loan, you can get the rate at 2.25%. I mean, low. The lowest I've ever seen it in my career.
Crazy.
So the capacity to put 3.5% down on a duplex where you live in one side and the other side's paying rent, in some cases, the rent from the other side would offset the entire expense of the home.
Right.
But at the very least, it really puts the purchaser in a position where they're minimizing their out-of-pocket on a monthly basis and having the capacity in the future to turn that duplex into a true investment property and a rental.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I love when first-time home buyers or any buyer really coming in if they can find that kind of property that gives them cash flow, helps them offset their payments, and creates a platform for the future for growing wealth.
Yeah, and he absolutely loves it. He's talking about buying another property, so it's been a win-win for him.
On his way to long-term wealth through real estate.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not a short game. So that is something I've always said about real estate and the duplex for anybody that can get it, like this buyer. It's definitely on their way a little quicker, I think.
People that get focused on paying their home off, if you looked at the history of real estate, knowing, as John said, that it continues to go up, I would tell people, don't focus on getting your home paid off, especially depending on your age. When you're younger, focus on acquiring more. You know, because again, when you move the real estate into a investment side, it becomes a Schedule E deduction. Then there's some huge benefits because now we can create tax-free cash flow with offsetting depreciation, and there's some absolutely fabulous things for building wealth in the future and adding into their overall platform for building the wealth and having a retirement plan that includes real estate. So I would say the more real estate you have, the better off you're going to be.
Awesome.
I think that's a great
That's
way
a
to
good
end
way to
today.
end it. So, thank you for joining us today. If you want to just tell everybody one last time how we can they can reach out to you and
Hey, feel free. My number, if you want to call me direct, 503-706-6628. You can find me and my team at toddjohnsonteam.com. So very easy to get a hold of me, and happy to chat with you and help you with any of your real estate questions or financing.
His response is very quick too.
thank you, Todd.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for listening and or watching. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. You guys have a wonderful day, and until next time.
Until next time.
Go
Have a
Beavs!
great day.
Go Beavs!
Go Ducks.
Go Beavs!
Nonsense.